So somebody sent me a video, I think that was a couple of weeks ago, about where somebody on some podcast had called me out about the fact that when they were nobody, so to speak, when they were up and coming in their career, they'd called me up and I had completely, in their words, bounced them. I had rejected them. Now, let me be clear. This video is not about responding to that. I am a big believer in the principle that is very well encapsulated by King Sunny Ade. King Sunny Ade said, "Bọ́n bá bú ẹ lẹ́yìn má ṣe bínú rárá, ọlọ́lá. Bọ́n bá bú ẹ lójú ẹ má ṣe bínú rárá láńrewájú. Àgbà tí yóò bínú lọ́mọ rẹ̀ ń pọ̀ jọjọ o." It just means that when they insult you to your face or even behind you, pay them no mind. It's water off a duck's back. Why? Because it's one of the secrets to abundance. In fact, what he literally said, that it is somebody who ignores that has many children. So I usually typically will not pay mind to something like this. These are small issues. There are bigger issues in life. However, it just occurred to me this morning that the principle that this person is contravening, for which they are calling me out, is a principle on which I wrote an entire book. I spent almost 1 year writing an entire book called Forget Principles and Find a Mentor: How to Connect with the People Who Can Help You Get from where you are to where you need to be in life. And this is the principle in the book, and you can find it on Amazon right now. It's a joint volume with my first book, The Secrets of the Streets. If you have to walk up to anybody for mentorship or mentoring in life, you're doing something wrong. In fact, if you have to call them up on the phone and they don't know you, that is even worse. Think about it. If you're a successful person, imagine the amount of calls that you get on a daily basis from unserious people who are just going to waste your time. So how do you tell, or how do you differentiate the serious person from the person who is not serious if it is just by a phone call? A phone call can never be enough. So somebody calls you up on the phone and says, "I'm a comedian," and you're supposed to give them a chance? No. I wrote in that book that if you truly want the mentoring of anybody, the most secure and the most guaranteed way to get it is to do a service for that person first. Give them a gift, offer them a service. You will come to their attention and you won't even need to ask them for mentoring. It is they who will ask you and bring you closer. When you call somebody, especially a successful person who doesn't know you, when you call them up out of the blues to ask them for mentoring, you are being lazy and you are trying to circumvent the work that needs to be done to come to their attention. Or maybe you did not know. So there is no judgment here. As I said, the point of this is to let people know how to go about it. Again, I wrote an entire book about mentoring because I believe that that is one of the critical pillars for success in life. We all need mentors, but don't just call them up on the phone. Number one. Now, number two, let's even assume that I was wrong. Let's assume that this person did everything they were supposed to do. Let's assume they gave me gifts and they rendered service to me and they came to me respectfully and they observed all the tenets and parameters and the rules for approaching a mentor, and I still disdained, discountenanced, and rejected them. Let's assume that was the case. Learn to forgive. Learn to forgive. Especially when you tell the person and the person apologizes to you, which was the case in this case. I do not remember the event that the person was talking about. I do not remember them ever calling me up on the phone at all. But I do remember them approaching me at a co-hotel, at a show at a co-hotel about 7 or 8 years ago. We're sitting at the table, and this person told me that they approached me years ago and I rejected them. And I apologized. I told them then that I didn't remember, but that I was sorry. And that thing left such an indelible mark on me that I always ask young people now, when they're successful and they say they met me back, I always ask them, I hope I was nice to you. I hope I was kind to you. Because that incident left an indelible mark on me, so I already apologized. So learn to forgive people, especially when they've apologized to you. Do you know how many people rejected me on my way up? Do you know how many people have rejected me over the years? Do you know how many people have rejected me during my down period when they thought I was down and out? Will I now call those people out and start calling them by their names? Of course not. What's the point? Brothers and sisters, you who are watching me, do you know how many people have rejected you on your climb to the top? Do you know how many people didn't give you a chance? So now that you're on top, or when you get to the top, you're going to spend your time calling them out and calling their names? No. But most importantly, brothers and sisters, do you know how many people even you have rejected? Do you know how many people came to you for help that you've rejected? Some of them unknowingly. Some of them approached you the wrong way. Maybe they called you up on the phone, or maybe they were rude or arrogant. That's number one. Or maybe they came the right way and you just did not get it. That's what makes us human, and that's what makes God God. Sometimes we just get it wrong. We misjudge a person's potential. So when that person becomes big now, they will start to call us out. This person who called me out, is he trying to say that there was nobody that he also rejected, or there's nobody he rejected? He's helped everybody. Now, while he might indeed answer yes to that question and claim that he's helped everybody, that might be true technically, but that can never be true truthfully and factually. Why? Because we sometimes reject people and we didn't even know that's what we did. Like in this case, that's exactly what happened. I did not even know that thing occurred until he told me, and I apologized. So even he cannot claim that there is nobody that he has annoyed in life. That's why we're human. Sometimes we reject and discountenance people and we don't even know. Which brings to mind the parable of the elephant and the sapling or the seedling. There was a small tree growing in the forest. It was a sapling, a seedling. And a mighty elephant was running along the jungle floor one day, the forest floor. And as elephants are wont to do, it was stepping on many things in its path. Flowers, grass, weeds, saplings, seedlings, and all of them. And so it stepped on the seedling of this tree. And the seedling bent. And it was injured for a long time. But eventually it pulled itself up and it grew up over the years to become a mighty tree, a great tree. And then one day, years later, the elephant was seeking shade and then came under the shade of that mighty tree. And then the tree said, no, don't stay here. You cannot stay here. And then the tree called all the other trees. Come and see this elephant. See this mighty elephant. When I was a young sapling, that's how one day when I was a young sapling, he stepped on me and almost destroyed my life. You can't stay here. And the elephant said to the sapling, he said, wow, I am sorry. I didn't know that. I didn't even know. But on the day that you're talking about, on the day that you're referring to, I do remember what happened. Poachers and hunters were chasing me. They wanted to kill me. They wanted my tusks. You know, I have magnificent tusks. They wanted my tusks. So I was running for my life. And so I must have stepped on many things. I don't know. Forgive me. This is life. We don't know, or we don't remember everybody that we annoy on the way. Which is why the elders say, and Musiliu Haruna Ishola sang it best. Ẹ̀yin àgbà o, òye, ẹ̀yin àgbà bẹ́ẹ̀ bá rí pé a ṣẹ̀yìn, ẹ má rojọ́ wá síbi tó ṣòro, ọmọ yín la jẹ́ ọgbọ́n òde ibì kan. Of course, I have completely ruined the song as I don't have any cadence or voice for Apala. But you get the message. Ẹ̀yin àgbà, tẹ́ bá rí pé a ṣẹ̀yìn, ẹ má rojọ́ wá síbi tó ṣòro, ọmọ yín la jẹ́ ọgbọ́n òde ibì kan. Let me try to translate. It's basically an appeal to powerful people or the powers that be in life. He's saying that, look, if I or if my group, if we've annoyed you, please forgive us. We're just children, essentially. Please forgive us and don't make allegations against us. Don't bring our case to powerful people or onto powerful platforms where they can judge us or harm us. Don't tell our case to people who are likely to harm us or to judge us or to injure us. Don't tell our case in those places. Just forgive us. We were small kids. We didn't know what we were doing. This is life. It is why the great teacher said, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. We all annoy people. We all discountenance people. We all reject people. And sometimes we don't even know. So learn to forgive. It's the Joseph principle. Joseph's brothers, and you know this story, They killed him, and they did it on purpose. They sold this 17-year-old into slavery. That was a death sentence. And then years later, when he was prime minister, those same brothers came to him looking for survival. And he did not judge them. He said, you meant this for evil, but God meant it for good. Without that gesture, the whole nation of Israel would not exist today. That is how to go about it. When you finally get to that position of power, don't start settling old scores. Don't start calling people out. And definitely don't call them out by their names. Which leads me to my third and final point. Notice that I've done this for quite a few minutes now and I've not mentioned anybody's name, even though you probably know to what I refer or to the incident to which I refer. It's not necessary. You don't have to call people out. You know what you have done in that case? You have given that person the chance of denial. It might be them, it might not be them. It might look like them. Based on what you have said, it looks like it is definitely going to be them. But because you have not mentioned their name, they have a chance and a plausibility for denial. In other words, the irony is that you are now doing to them in the public what they did to you in private. That's the irony of it all. Shebi, it was in private. It was in private that they rejected you. You have now, years later, brought the whole matter out to public. And so we come full circle now, and I end. If you want mentoring, don't just call people up on the phone or go to them. Do them a little service first. Send them a small gift. Again, I wrote an entire book. Number 2, even if they reject you after all of that, have a forgiving spirit. When you get to the top, so to speak, don't spend your time settling scores and calling people out. Number 3, don't call people out by their names. You are challenging them. And if not they, you are challenging life. It might not even be that person. It might not even be me that you have called out now. It might be one of my proteges or somebody who saw that takes offense and say, how can you? You don't know these things. This is life. Now, I must acknowledge that at the end of all that, they threw up their hands and they said, hey, no offense. As I said, I've not taken offense. But having written an entire book, I mean, how can I now let this pass when I wrote an entire book on that very principle? That's it.